Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a 12-team PPR mock draft on YahooFantasy.com. In this video, we're going to be drafting from the 10th overall spot. Throughout the video, I'm going to be talking about my thought process behind all of my picks, as well as my thoughts as the draft goes on. I'll be talking about my picks, as well as all of the other picks, so you guys can get the best idea of how I am feeling during 2021 fantasy football draft. If you guys do end up enjoying this video at any point, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win your 2021 fantasy football championship. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, the first pick of the draft is probably going to be Christian McCaffrey, but this year I feel as though the first overall pick is not necessarily locked in. In years prior, basically everyone kind of had that one guy that was going at the number one overall spot every time, but more and more have I seen guys like Dalvin Cook or Derrick Henry end up being the first pick over Christian McCaffrey. But it seems like in a majority of leagues at this point, McCaffrey will end up being the guy, but don't be surprised if people talk themselves into Dalvin Cook in your leagues, or into Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, any of those guys. So Christian McCaffrey went first, followed by Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, and Alvin Kamara. The first couple of picks in basically every single draft are going to be running backs. There's probably going to be 2 or 3 players inside of the first round in a 12-team league that are not going to end up being the running back position. Maybe a guy like Travis Kelce, or maybe end up seeing 3 wide receivers, a Devontae Adams, a Stephon Diggs, a DeAndre Hopkins, a Tyreek Hill, that type of player. After Alvin Kamara was Ezekiel Elliott. So we're 5 picks in, 5 running backs in a row. Let's see if Roger over here is going to make that 6. Don't be surprised if it ends up happening. At number 6, we see Jonathan Taylor. 6 picks in, 6 running backs, 7 picks in, 7 running backs, with 9-inch Nicholas Chubb coming off the board. That's why a lot of people that are drafting at the 10th spot are looking to go wide receiver heavy, which is why I kind of talked about that running back zero strategy, where you start off the draft really heavily on the wide receiver position, because there's so much falling value at the wide receiver position, whereas at the running back position, people are just picking running backs left and right. Now, am I necessarily going to do that? I'm not too sure. It really depends how this goes. After Nick Chubb goes Saquon Barkley, followed by Travis Kelce. So we do see a non-running back go ahead of us. So looking at the skill positions still available, we have Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, and Tyreek Hill. Now, normally in most drafts, I draft a running back early, and we're doing a mock draft. So I want to see what my team looks like if we draft a wide receiver in the first round. So I'm going to go with my number 1 overall wide receiver going into this year, which is Devontae Adams. Now, obviously, Devontae Adams' value can get drop-kicked by the fact that Mr. Discount double-check Aaron Rodgers ends up retiring. He ends up getting traded. He doesn't end up playing for the first couple of games. I don't really know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. I thought this whole situation was going to be resolved like a month ago, but at this point, it seems like Aaron Rodgers is holding strong onto the fact that he is going to wait for whatever, if that's that new contract, if that's the trade, I'm not too sure, but he seems very stuck in it. So Devontae Adams is still my wide receiver 1 if Rodgers plays. If Rodgers does not play, Stephon Diggs will be my number 1 overall wide receiver. After Devontae Adams came Aaron Jones, Tyreek Hill, Cam Akers, and Stephon Diggs. So we're back up on the board here, and I'm going to go with a running back at this pick. I still like a couple of these running backs, and I think it gets real bad after this, or not really necessarily bad at the running back position, but it gets a little dicey. I'm going to go with running back Austin Eckler of the Los Angeles Chargers, aka Mr. Clean with his bald-ass head. Austin Eckler last season was one of my guys. He was one of the guys that I got on video basically every single day, got down on my knees, and basically sucked this guy dry, because I loved Austin Eckler's value so much last season. He's going in a similar spot this year in 2021. We saw with Tyrod Taylor, it did not look all that great week 1, but after Tyrod Taylor got hit with the stabby stab in the lung, then Austin Eckler started eating with Justin Herbert. If Austin Eckler didn't get hurt last year, Austin Eckler probably would have finished as a top 10 running back, and he has that top 10, top 5 potential going into the 2021 fantasy football season. I really heavily believe in Austin Eckler because of how how many targets this guy is going to see, as well as the fact that I don't trust a single other running back on this roster aside from Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler is the workhorse running back in this system. Sure, Joshua Kelly will get touches. The other guys will get touches behind him, but there is not just one other guy behind him. They're going to have a Marriott, like the fucking hotel. I don't even know what the word would be, but they're going to have a couple other guys back there. There's no clear running back 2, which typically means good things for the running back 1 when they don't even know who the fuck is going to necessarily be behind him. I think that Austin Eckler has a whole lot of potential to get potentially over 1,000 receiving yards in 2021, get a whole bunch of receptions, score a bunch of touchdowns, and with how I project this Los Angeles Chargers offense to be, Austin Eckler will be a complete and utter steal in the second round. After Austin Eckler came Joe Mixon, Antonio Gibson, Pat Mahomes, DeAndre Hopkins, DK Metcalf, Calvin Ridley, and Najee Harris. Now, in yesterday's video, if you guys ended up missing it, make sure you check that out. It was my biggest bust at every position. I talked about Pat Mahomes. And if you haven't seen that video, you might be thinking, Nick, how do you think Patrick Mahomes is going to be a bust? He's the best quarterback in the NFL, and I agree with you. He's the best quarterback in the NFL, but you are severely handcuffing yourself to the fucking wall when you draft Patrick Mahomes in the second round, because now your running back 2, your wide receiver 1 is going to be significantly worse, where you could have just waited on Patrick Mahomes, picked the guy later, and you would have felt a lot better about your team. You are really screwing yourself over drafting a quarterback super early, which is why I do not advocate for it. Now, in certain scenarios, drafting a quarterback early can work, and teams can win drafting any type of way. You could draft a fucking kicker in the first round and still end up winning your league, but I'm trying to set you guys up for perfection, set you guys up for the best scenario, and I believe taking a quarterback in the first 2-3 rounds is basically just idiotic and is going to completely skullfuck your roster. After Calvin Ridley came Najee Harris, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, David Montgomery, and Keenan Allen. So we're at the point in the drafts where the running backs are getting a little bit spooky, which is kind of why I like to draft 2 running backs, get that 1-2 punch early on in the draft. I think in 12-team leagues, getting at least 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds is the most ideal. Having taken Devontae Adams in the first round, I don't think my team is going to completely suffer. Obviously, if Rodgers is back, we should be a-okay, but it will be worrisome if 2 of the running backs that I want go, especially if Chris Carson goes here. I am basically going to be punching the screen because there's no way I'm drafting Myles Gaskin in the 3rd round. I'm just going to continue to wait on the running back position if that is the case, because that is my last guy that I want at running back, and of course I spoke it into existence and Chris Carson went right ahead of me. So now we're pivoting and we're going with either a wide receiver or a tight end. Let's see. We're in the 3rd round. I think we can wait until the 4th round to get Darren Waller potentially. So we're going to go ahead here and snag Mr. Allen Robinson, wide receiver of the Chi-Town Bears. I like Allen Robinson a whole lot. This guy has done so much in his NFL career with such bad quarterbacks. He's done it with Blake Bortles. He's done it with 9-inch Nick Foles. He's done it with Kiss and Titties Trubisky. So why would he not be able to do it with Andy Dalton as well as with Justin Fields? After I went with Allen Robinson came Terry McLaurin, Josh Jacobs, and Darren Waller. So we got sniped from right out underneath us. The guy went with Darren Waller. Not super surprised about that. I like Waller a whole ton, but I'm fine getting Allen Robinson at this value. So the question is, do we hop back on the wide receiver train or do we take Myles Gaskin? Because I'm relatively confident that Myles Gaskin has top 12 potential, and as our running back 2, I won't be too mad. Looking at the wide receivers, I think that one of these guys will fall into the 5th round. I'm pretty confident in, but after Myles Gaskin, Mike Davis, and Kareem Hunt, there's a huge fall off, and it's likely that they will go before I get to pick again, since I am pick number 3 in this round, and it's going to take a very long time for it to snake back around. So we're going to get Myles Gaskin. I feel like that may have been a slight overpay because I'm not necessarily sure. I'm confident in Myles Gaskin in the 4th round, but based upon how my team is constructed, I'm happily going to be able to wait for a wide receiver in the next round. And if I didn't get Myles Gaskin and these other people are taking Mike Davis and stuff, then my running back core is kind of screwed. As a Miami Dolphins fan, I understand that Myles Gaskin doesn't necessarily have this workhorse role belted into him, like he doesn't necessarily have that baked in, but I do believe he will be the workhorse with Salvon Ahmed still getting touches behind him. But overall, Myles Gaskin is going to be the guy in Miami. I think that the Miami Dolphins offense is going to be firing at all cylinders, something we didn't see last year, and even with the offense being somewhat limp dick last year, not being able to necessarily get it up, Myles Gaskin was still able tackle to flourish. So I like Gaskin again in 2021. After Myles Gaskin came Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, Mark Andrews, and Julio Jones. So very interesting. Very interesting that before we went with Myles Gaskin, Kyle Pitts came off the board. Now, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago in my must-own tight end video, how I love Kyle Pitts, how I think Kyle Pitts is going to break down the fucking barriers of being a rookie tight end, how he may be the best rookie tight end ever, but when that happens, that's what's going to happen, actually, for you to have gotten your value out of drafting Kyle Pitts as the tight end 4 in fantasy football. Rookie tight ends typically don't live up to their expectation. It typically takes a year for them to fully develop into that guy. And I think that a lot of people are going to regret taking Kyle Pitts this high. Again, I think Kyle Pitts is amazing. No one in their right fucking mind has been comparing tight ends to a guy like Calvin Johnson, Megatron, one of the best NFL wide receivers in my opinion ever. One of the best players I've ever seen play football. Now again, I'm 22 years old, so I don't fucking date back to all these other guys, but Calvin Johnson was a beast for the Lions. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be very, very good, but pump the brakes a little, pull back a little, pull halfway out of there, because you are going to end up down tremendous if you're drafting Kyle Pitts this high and he doesn't put up the greatest rookie tight end season ever in the NFL. After Mark Andrews came Julio Jones, followed by Kareem Hunt, Chase Edmonds, Chris Godwin, Robert Woods, and Josh Allen, and then DJ Moore. So you see why you don't want to draft a quarterback early, because this guy picked Patrick Mahomes, probably assuming that Mahomes won't be available in the next round, or maybe that he won't be able to get the quarterback 2 in the next round. But in reality, this guy waited basically 2 more rounds and got Josh Allen at such a big discount compared to Patrick Mahomes. Now again, am I going to be a guy pulling the trigger on a quarterback in the 4th round, in the 5th round? Probably not, but it feels a lot more worth it to do in the 4th round, at least to me, compared to in the 2nd round. So we're going to start seeing these quarterback runs. After Allen came DJ Moore, TJ Hawkinson, Lamar Jackson, and Dak Prescott. This happens at the quarterback position. Someone takes the quarterback, and then the next guy shits his pants. He's like, God damn, I wanted Lamar. Now I need to take Dak, because if I don't take Dak here, then I'm not going to be able to get Russell Wilson in the next round. I'm not going to be able to get X in the next round, and then they're panicking, and then maybe Bart over here, like the Simpson guy, is going to panic here and draft a quarterback. Things happen all the time. People panic at quarterback. They panic at tight end. That's why you see during drafts runs of 3-4 quarterbacks, runs of 3-4 tight ends, especially later on in the draft. After Dak Prescott came Ronald Jones out of field. Ronald Jones in the 5th round is just asking to be bent over the table and fucked relentlessly by a player. I don't see why in any sense you're drafting Ronald Jones over a guy like Mike Davis. Doesn't make very much sense. Mike Davis is the guy in Atlanta. Ronald Jones is in a backfield of doom with Leonard Fournette. After Adam Thielen came Deontay Johnson, CeeDee Lamb, and Kyler Murray. So we're going to be able to get a running back here at this spot. We're going to go ahead and snag Mike Davis as our flex option, who could honestly be playing more as our running back 2 than Myles Gaskin, because I really like Mike Davis going into this year. I think if this Atlanta Falcons offense runs on all cylinders, maybe if Kyle Pitts is that fucking guy, then this offense is going to be pounding into defenses. A big worry about Mike Davis actually just has to be the fact that the defense is terrible in Atlanta and they won't be able to run the ball much. But obviously on the Carolina Panthers, when Mike Davis flourished last season without Christian McCaffrey, obviously that defense wasn't the greatest, and Mike Davis was still able to succeed through his pass catching work. So Davis should be fine. After with Mike Davis came Cooper Kupp, James Robinson, and Justin Herbert the pervert. So guys are panicking left and right on the quarterback position. But now we're going to hop back onto the wide receiver train here and hopefully go with a safety net here in Kenny Golladay. I like Tyler Lockett in best ball, which is one of the dumbest arguments ever, because everyone's good in best ball, but that's legitimately true with Tyler Lockett, because this guy is so fucking inconsistent. He'll have a game where he takes the defense and beats them to a pulp, and then the next week he'll play up against this easy defense and he will slap you directly in the cock for starting him in your lineup because he's going to put up 3 points. I'm going to go with Golladay. I feel safe with Golladay. I don't necessarily feel there's too much upside with him, which is why I've kind of talked negatively about him drafting him in the 5th round, in the 6th round, because that's where he's going in a lot of leagues, typically in the 5th round. In the 6th round, I feel like there was a good enough discount for me to be willing to pay the price for Kenny Golladay. I think his upside is limited by Daniel Jones, but if Daniel Jones was able to turn it all around, reverse cowgirl, and he ends up actually playing quite good, then this negative energy I've put towards Kenny Golladay will be proved to be completely wrong. After I went with Kenny Golladay, Tyler Lockett came off the board, followed by Russell Wilson, Leonard Fournette, and Melvin Gordon. I'm telling you guys, people get off their rocker once these quarterbacks start going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks out of the 12 teams have already gone. People will panic, but now we're in the range of quarterback where people have no longer panicked. There's really no way to panic. You just hold the fucking door like Hodor in Game of Thrones, and you're just waiting and praying that one of these guys you like later falls to you. Aaron Rodgers would be a steal in the 7th round if he ends up being the quarterback. Deshaun Watson all the way down here. We don't know what's happening with Deshaun Watson. When will we know? I don't know. That is going to be one of the most confusing things because we might not even know during this season. He may just not play at all. It's very crazy. I hope that he didn't do what he did because obviously if what they're saying he did was terrible, and that would just be very bad for the look on Deshaun Watson. I would have zero respect for Deshaun Watson if he actually ended up doing that. Again, no fucking idea if he did it or not. No idea. No one knows except for him, I guess. So after we kind of talk about the quarterbacks, again, people are just going to wait. No one's going to pull the trigger here on Jalen Hurts, any of these guys. They're just going to go ahead and wait with their thumb up their ass and just wait a couple of rounds, and then bada bing, bada boom. Whoever falls to them, they take them. That's at least my opinion on how things will go. After Melvin Gordon came Odell Beckham Jr., Raheem Mostert, Dallas Goedert, Damian Harris, Noah Fant, and the 7th round begins with Javonte Williams. I may be legitimately the most anti-Javonte Williams guy alive because I don't understand the hype. I do not understand it. I think that Javonte Williams is good, and I think that next season when Melvin Gordon's gone, Javonte Williams is going to be a complete and utter monster for fantasy football, but I think people are going to be 1 year too early. They're going to buy in on the rookie hype. They're going to think he's going to be able to surpass Melvin Gordon, but in reality, we're going to see a lot of what we saw last season when Melvin Gordon and when Phillip Lindsay were healthy. We're going to see two guys stuck together, unable to get the other guy off his back, off his jock. We're going to be seeing these two guys playing together, 50-50, and you are going to be so disappointed drafting either of them unless there is an injury. People are really buying in heavily on Javonte Williams. I see it all over Twitter. I see it all over Instagram. I see it all over YouTube. To me, it is idiotic to assume that Melvin Gordon just fucking sucks out of nowhere, right? Melvin Gordon isn't Melvin Gordon from the Chargers a couple years ago, but he's not Melvin Gordon the garbage can. He's still a good NFL running back. Watch the tape from last year. Look at the stats from last year. This guy is still good, so people are throwing him away. They're dismissing it. It's fucking stupid because we know how the Denver Broncos work. They work with a running back by committee. Double head backfield. It's not going to work for Javonte Williams. I'm telling you that right now. People are going to get slapped across the face by Javonte Williams. And just so you know, I told you so. I told you so if it doesn't end up working. And if it does end up working, it's because someone ended up getting hurt, in my opinion. After that was Aaron Rodgers, Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, Chase Claypool, Jalen Hurts. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I thought people would just go ahead and wait at quarterback, but no, people are still panicking. They're still shitting themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams already have quarterbacks. Just continue to wait. I'm going to take my quarterback once I feel like people might start taking their second quarterback, because in a lot of leagues, people build up and they draft 2 quarterbacks on the same team, which I don't really understand, especially if you're confident in your guy. Maybe if I draft someone, I continue to wait. People start taking backup quarterbacks, and then I have to take Tua, and then I'm drafting Tua and someone else to kind of stack them together to hope that one of them ends up being quite good. So we're going to continue to wait on quarterback. I still like Brady. I still like Stafford. Still like Tannehill. Still like Joe Burrow a lot. So it's kind of just a no-brainer to continue on waiting. Looking at running backs, it's completely dwindled down. That's why you kind of got to get those 3 running backs early on in the draft that you feel very confident in, because now you are in a complete and utter shit show here. So we're probably going to end up going with a wide receiver at this pick, and I kind of like Courtland Sutton a lot. I do. I draft him so often that I feel like I'm limiting your guys' brain by doing it, but I want to talk about him again. Courtland Sutton was hurt last season in 2019. He has this huge breakout season with Drew Lock. I really believe the Denver Broncos offense is going to be clicking on a next fucking level like those zombies in The Last of Us. Those are the clickers. I believe that Courtland Sutton is going to break out. Well, he already broke out. He already broke out, so I can't say that, but I think he's going to return to form as the guy he was in 2019, if not even better. After we went with Courtland Sutton, Matthew Stafford came off the board, Robbie Anderson, and Jerry Jeudy. So we're coming back up on the board again. We're going to go running back here and then probably take our quarterback or tight end in the round 9-10 range. At tight end, I still like Irv Smith a lot, and it seems like he is falling really deep in drafts, so I'm pretty confident here. Just going with a running back with high upside. I like Moss. I like Edwards. I think that Zach Moss has legitimate value to become the running back one on this Buffalo Bills team. I hate Devin Singletary, and the fact that everyone hates Devin Singletary and that he's falling even further in drafts actually makes me kind of like him. I don't know why. I just feel like now he's at such a discount. Last year, people were trying to talk themselves into Devin Singletary being what he was in 2019, but that was not going to happen because Zach Moss was going to be involved, and they drafted him too high. That's why I like Zach Moss. But now, maybe even later, do I like the discount on Devin Singletary. That's kind of how I'm feeling, but I do believe Zach Moss is the actual better running back. So if you're looking between these two guys, if you have to pick one of them in the 8th round, in the 9th round, I would definitely lean with Zach Moss. Another late round running back that I like a lot is Michael Carter of the New York Football Jets. I think this could end up being a running back by committee, but I believe that since the new regime drafted Michael Carter, he will get the first crack at it, and I think he's the best running back out of that group in New York. Tevin Coleman, as well as LaMichael P. Ryan. Trey Sermon, also a rookie running back that I like a decent amount. Going later in drafts, I think that he won't necessarily get the first crack at it because I think Raheem Mostert is obviously the veteran. He should be the better running back, but with the other running backs, Jeff Wilson ended up getting hurt. I think the door's wide open for Trey Sermon to see a lot of touches, and with how the San Francisco 49ers run the running back core, they do the running back by orgy. They give a million guys touches to where Trey Sermon could see a whole lot of value, especially if he gets off on the right foot. After we went with Zach Moss came the Los Angeles defense, Tyler Higbee, Washington football team defense, the Pittsburgh defense, and Tampa Bay Tom Brady. So guys, when it comes to drafting defenses, don't be the guy that drafts a defense or the gal that drafts a defense in the 8th round, in the 7th round. Just wait until the last round, find a defense playing a shitty offense week 1, bada bing, bada boom. You start them week 1. If they have a tougher matchup week 2, you know what you do? You dribble them around and you throw them onto the waiver wire, you cut them, and then boom, you're fine. You play a new defense the next week. I make videos every single week telling you guys which defenses to add, so make sure you check those videos out because they are very, very important every single week to help you stream those defenses and help you maximize the points at the defensive position. After Tom Brady came A.J. Dillon. Tampa Bay Tom Brady, yet again coming at an extreme discount. I think it is because people eventually predict that Tom Brady is going to fall off. Frankly, this guy is in dinosaur years right now. He is so fucking old, and he's not falling off. I want Tom Brady to fall off. I hate Tom Brady. As a Dolphins fan, I hate Tom Brady. I hate him. But he's going to continue kissing defenses on the mouth like he kissed his son. He's so good. He's so good still. And he's like 7,000 years old. He's never going to fall off. It is my worst nightmare. He's going to continue to keep balling out for years. The discount comes because he can't run. Obviously, because he's so old, he's never been able to run. He's like a fucking statue back there. And the fact that people eventually think he's going to fall off, but I don't see it ever happening. I think he's going to retire, and he'll probably still have 5 other years to go. He could probably play till he's like 69 years old, probably, at this point. After Tampa Bay Tom came A.J. Dillon, the Baltimore Ravens defense, San Francisco, Indianapolis, Justin Tucker the fucker, and Harrison Butker. Now, I think these are the computer drafting at this point because a lot of people just jump out of the drafts. But understand that with fantasy football, a lot of people, they're going to look to fill out that roster. You can see on the right side of the screen or here. I think I made it easier to look at this way, Nick. Yeah. So they're going to fill out the roster. They're going to be like, you know what? I got my running backs. I got my receiver. I got my flex. Let me get a tight end. Let me get a quarterback. Understand that you can fill out your bench you got to fill out the bench because those guys are important as well. Finding a late round quarterback could be easy. Finding a late round tight end is easy as well, especially if you're going for late round tight end and you're someone who wants to take 2 tight ends. You up your shot of hitting on one of these late round tight ends by so much. Say you like Irv Smith like myself. He doesn't end up panning out. That's okay because you drafted Irv Smith. You also drafted Cole Kmet. You also drafted Anthony Fursker. You also drafted maybe Chris Herndon eventually becomes the guy we want him to be. Or you take Robert Tonyan in this round. The next round, you hit Irv Smith, and boom, it's likely that you're going to probably find a top 10 tight end out of those 2 guys, if not even a guy with top 5 potential, because inevitably, someone's going to get hurt, and one of these guys are going to immensely break out. But I'm going to continue to wait on that position. I'm going to be looking running back. I'm going to be looking wide receiver here. Unless, let's see. Yeah, I think I might have to go quarterback because it seems like this is the kind of league where people are going to start taking backup quarterbacks. I'm going to go with Joe Burrow. I like Tannehill as well. They are very close in my rankings. If Burrow has any bit of a complication, it seems like he won't with starting week 1. But if he does, then I would obviously draft Tannehill ahead of him. I think both these guys are going to have monster offenses, but I think that the Bengals are going to be down late in games having to fucking sling the pigskin, and I think Joe Burrow is ready to do it with this loaded offense. Tyler, yeah, Boyd, Titty Boy T. Higgins, and his boy Jamar Chase from LSU. I have a whole lot of confidence in Mr. Joey B in 2021. Now, again, you could draft your tight end here, but I feel pretty confident in waiting and hoping that Irv Smith falls to me in the 11th round. If not, we're going to do one of those. We're going to do something I don't typically do, and we're going to draft 2 tight ends. Because I want to make sure I hit on one of them and I up my chance, like I said, by a lot if I end up drafting 2. After I went Joe Burrow came Ryan Tannehill and Nyheim Hines. So I made the right move because people will draft backup quarterbacks. That's just how the cookie crumbles in fantasy football. People like to take backup quarterbacks, even though it's kind of stupid, in my opinion. Especially if you have Stafford, you're just assuming Stafford's going to be really good. So why do you need Ryan Tannehill? I just don't understand that thought process, if I'm being completely honest with you. Obviously, in a 2 quarterback league, that is completely different. You need to have 2, 3 quarterbacks on your roster at all time, if not even 4. So we're back up on the board in 1 pick here, and I'm probably going to jump into the running back well at this pick because by the end of the draft, you want to have more running backs than wide receivers because it's easier to find a wide receiver off the waiver wire than a running back that you can start week in, week out. I like Gus Edwards a ton. I just do. I think Gus Edwards is going to get a lot of opportunity with Dobbins in the lineup, but if Dobbins was to go down, knock on wood, we don't hope for injuries, then Gus Edwards is getting implanted as the running back 1 in a super duper run heavy offense. To me, it's kind of a no-brainer to like Gus Edwards. A lot of people are talking him up, so I don't think I really have to get down on my knees and fucking give this guy the Gawk Gawk 9000 special, but I will kind of because the value is amazing in the 10th round and his upside is tremendous, even with Dobbins in the lineup. I'm starting to really come. Like, I'm just fucking nutting everywhere. I'm starting to come to the conclusion that Edwards may be even better than I previously thought when I talked about him, breaking him down in that video as a great sleeper. I think I like him even more now. After Jamar Chase came Kenya Drake and Tyler, yeah, Boyd. After Tyler Boyd came Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki, Brandon Cooks, Tony Pollard, Devin Singletary, Robert Tonyan, Trey Sermon, Logan Thomas, and the Tampa Bay defense. So hopefully no one takes Irv Smith because then I made a very bad mistake waiting on tight end this long, if I'm being honest with you. Round 11 is pretty ambitious to be waiting on Irv Smith again. I'm pretty confident I can find some type of a package later of 2 tight ends that could end up being very valuable for my team. So I'm not all that worried, but I'm kind of worried because I really like Irv Smith a lot. Again, I've talked about this in basically every mock draft because I draft him in every fucking mock draft because he falls so late to me. Mike Zimmer, basically, let me read it. I'm going to pull it up for you guys because this is one of the craziest things I've ever read in my life. Can I click on him? Fuck me, right? There used to be one of these things. I wish I could click on it. Basically, it said that Mike Zimmer, the head coach of the Vikings, hates Irv Smith, basically. He said that Irv Smith is not going to be seeing an increase in production in 2021. Huh? Kyle Rudolph is gone. It's Irv Smith season, baby. You gotta buy into it. It's his season. I think Mike Zimmer is just trying to do some Jedi fucking mind trick on me, try to make me worried about it, but I ain't worried, baby. I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried about it, sweetheart. I love Irv Smith in 2021. After I drafted Irv Smith came Rodrigo. You sunk my Blankenship. Now we're going to hop back on the running back and wide receiver train. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers. Again, you want to have more running backs than wide receivers. So we're going to go with a running back and a wide receiver to close out the draft here. Another late round running back that I like a lot, Jamal Williams. A lot of talk about how it might be a 1A, 1B situation in Detroit. A lot of people are talking about it. And I think Jamal Williams is good enough for that to potentially happen. And if something was to happen to Swift, I think Jamal Williams is one of the most talented handcuffs in fantasy football. If you draft Cam Akers, I love Darrell Henderson as well, but we're going to go with Jamal Williams in this mock draft. I like Jamal Williams a whole ton. Jamal with 2 A's, Williams. Jamal Williams is one of those guys that I've honestly been talking a lot for a couple of years now. When he was in Green Bay, he was a pretty solid handcuff for Aaron Jones, but now in Detroit, I think we could see an even bigger role for him in this offense than we've ever seen for him in Green Bay. After Jamal Williams came Matt Ryan, followed by Laviska Shenault. So people are clearly drafting 2 quarterbacks in this league. Probably going to be drafting 2 tight ends as well. This guy went with Henry and Gerald Everett, so it's definitely going to end up happening. But we're going to end up just closing our draft out with a wide receiver. The question, though, is who is still available as the quarterbacks at the wide receiver position that I like. Now, Cole Beasley, I like a lot because he's relatively safe and he's on a high-powered offense in Buffalo. But there's talk about the fact that he might retire over the COVID stuff. Not the greatest. But I doubt he retires, right? Why the fuck would Cole Beasley retire? He's finally starting to do something at the NFL level, right? When he was in Dallas, he wasn't making too much noise. But now in Buffalo, he's been playing quite well. So I don't know why he would retire over that. I think it's a whole lot of hoopla over here. So another guy I really like, Devontae Smith. There is no way Devontae Smith is going to be available in the 13th round of most drafts, if I'm being honest with you. This guy is the legitimate wide receiver 1, in my opinion, on a team. On the Eagles, he's the wide receiver 1. And you can draft him in the 13th round. Look at who's available now. Are any of these guys the wide receiver 1 on their team? I mean, maybe Crowder is. I mean, Pittman also could be. But Devontae Smith, to me, seems like he is clear-cut out of fucking Greek god stones that he will be the wide receiver 1 on the team. I just don't know who else it'll be. Jalen Reagor? JJ Arcega-Whiteside? No, it's going to be Devontae Smith, baby. Alabama, Slim Reaper, Devontae Smith. No one's talking about Devontae Smith, but he could easily be way better than Ja'Marr Chase, and he is going, let's see before I say something outrageous. Let's see, Ja'Marr Chase. Where did you get drafted, you sneaky fucker? Ja'Marr Chase in the 10th round. He's going to go higher than that. And then we're going to be able to potentially get him at a 3-round discount. And this guy's the clear wide receiver 1, in my opinion, on Philly. Ja'Marr Chase is in a brutal 3-way. A fatal 3-way, as one might say, in Cincinnati. They have so many wide receivers in Cincinnati, whereas Devontae Smith is surrounded by no one. So it's kind of crazy they fell this far. I probably will get auto-picked, though, sniped from me. That's A-okay because there's other wide receivers that I like. I think John Brown could also be the wide receiver 1 in Viva Las Vegas. Jalen Waddle's a guy I'm willing to take a shot on, but I don't love it, even as a Dolphins fan. I don't love it, but I do think Devontae Smith is going to be my guy. Hopefully, Bauda over here doesn't end up sniping me with the auto pick. I apologize that a lot of these people are auto picking, but again, there's not much I can do about that unless I try to get more of you guys in. I'm going to try to live stream a lot of mock drafts as we get into July, August, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. We're going to go ahead and draft Devontae Smith at this pick. I didn't mean to pop this whole fucking thing up. We got Devontae Smith here. Again, I've talked about him enough. I don't even think we really need to talk about him. Before that, we saw Phillip Lindsay, the New England defense, Alexander Madison, Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper, man. So many people bought into Austin Hooper. He played so well in Atlanta, but it was because of the system. that he was good. He goes to Cleveland. They don't even fucking throw the ball. I told you guys not to draft Austin Hooper last year. People did. He sucked ass. And now hopefully people are not buying back into that again. So now we need our kicker and our defense here. We're going to go with our kicker first. We're going to go ahead and select Matt Prater, now of the Arizona Cardinals. Matt Prater, one of those super safe kickers. I'm going to be making my kicker rankings video later on in August, so you guys get my full gauge on the kicker position. But right now, it's just take best player available at the kicker position. I don't look super deep into this until probably August, because I don't find that it's super important to be breaking down a kicker for fantasy football in June, because so many things could change. These guys get cut left and right. They switch teams every single year. Like, if it didn't tell me he was on the Arizona Cardinals, I still would have thought he was the kicker for the Lions. I would have thought that. I don't know if that's just me, but I mean, that's just how I feel. The kickers change teams all the fucking time. You never have any idea about it. At least maybe I just don't pay attention enough to the kicker news in the NFL. So I'm going to go ahead and just, with the power of editing, zoom back here when it is our pick. There's not too much to be talking about here, especially when there's so many auto picks. Actually, before my pick, I have something fucking crazy to talk about. Why in the world did the Pittsburgh Steelers cut their Pro Bowl guard David DeCastro? That guy was like the only bright spot of this offensive line that sucks ass, and they cut him? What? That's notable, because that hurts Najee Harris a bunch. Najee Harris was going to be dealing with a bad offensive line, and now it got even worse. Am I scared to draft Najee Harris? Am I scared to draft Najee Harris? No, I'm not. I'm not spooked. But I'm definitely nervous. I'm definitely a lot more nervous now about it, because, like, fuck, man. What if he's just getting mauled behind the offensive line and can't do anything? I mean, James Conner, he sucked last year, basically because the offensive line sold him up the river. So I'm pretty nervous. Pretty nervous about Najee Harris. But we're back up on the board here. We got our kicker. We're going with our defense again. Who gives a fuck right now? But you want to be finding the defense playing the shitty offense week 1, and that's who you're going to be drafting. We're just going to draft Minnesota for the sake of this video. But again, I would have tried to figure out who they're playing week 1 before I actually picked them. So, to conclude this luxurious video, our quarterback of our team is Joe Burrow, followed by Devontae Adams and Allen Robinson as our 2 starting wideouts. Our 2 starting running backs are Austin Eckler and Myles Gaskin. Our tight end is Irv Smith. Our flex is Mike Davis. Our bench is comprised of Kenny G, Kenny Golladay, Cortland Sutton, Zach Moss, Gus the Bus Edwards, Jamal Williams, Devontae Smith. Our kickers, Matt Prater, and our defense is It Is Cold like Minnesota. Let me know what you guys thought about this team. Typically, I'm not a guy that drafts a wide receiver in the first round, but we did it in this video. We got a little spicy, got a little bit out of the box. That's what these mocks are for, to try everything out, to dip your toe in before you go in raw, before you go in without any lube into the draft. You got to get lubed up. That's what these mock drafts are. It's getting lubed up. You don't want to just spin on it and stick it in there. That's what cramming for the draft is. We're over here. We're in June. We're practicing in June. By August, we're going to be well-oiled fucking machines, baby. I love you guys, baby. Thank you guys so much again for everything. I thought something was walking behind me. It was just my chair. Almost shit myself a little bit, but thank you guys for watching. I love you guys deep down from the depths of my heart. It means so much to see all the support on all of these videos. The mock draft videos typically do the best. I don't know why. I guess people just love the mock draft, so I hope you guys like this mock draft. I hope you guys had a great time. Happy Friday. It's the fucking weekend, baby. I'm going to have a nice night tonight, drink a bunch, hopefully don't get sick so that there's a good video tomorrow on Saturday. I love you guys all again from deep down in my heart. Thank you guys for everything you have given me, because without you guys, there are no videos, because you're watching, which motivates me to keep posting. I love you guys all. Stay safe. Have a great rest of your guys' day. No more rambling. Down below, write Viking in the comments if you made it this far. It would make me very, very, very happy if you made it like 40 minutes in a video, maybe even 35, because I had to cut away at a point to go get water because I was dehydrated as a motherfucker. So again, thank you guys for watching. No more tirade, as always. Boy!